We're studying today End Time Events, lesson number 27. The title of it is Fifth and Sixth Woes Being Released. When the fifth trumpet sounded, a plague of demon locusts are released. Revelations 9 verses 1 through 5. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven into the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. This is to the angel. The key was given. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there was smoke out of the pit, and the smoke of a great furnace, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And it came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpion of the earth has power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any trees, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man. They were commanded not to hurt the grass of the earth, or any green thing, or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of God in their forehead. And they were not given the authority to kill them, the men that they torment, but to torment them for 5 months. Their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it strikes a man. The locusts are commanded not to harm the grass of the earth, but we know that the first plague has not run its course, and there would be no grass for the locusts to hurt. Since the locusts are instructed to hurt only the men who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads, that tells us that the 144,000 young Jewish evangelists with the seal of God in their forehead are still on the earth ministering after mid-tribulation time. Approximately 6 months later, they are met by Jesus at the Mount Zion and are taken up to God's throne. Being shortly after mid-tribulation time, this plague covers a 5 months period and is not repeated. During this time, the remnant of Israel, who have not yet accepted Christ, are hidden away and ministered to by the 144,000 young Jewish evangelists. I believe that anyone who accepts the ministry of the 144,000 will also have divine protection against the terrible things that are happening. The Word shows us that our God of mercy knows how to protect and deliver His own people. It seems that during the 5 months of time there will be no death. Verse 6 tells us that in those days men shall seek death and will not find it. Revelations 9 verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death will flee from them. Since the time death became a reality through the fall of Adam, this would be the only occasion in all of God's world that death took a holiday. Men will suffer the scorpion-like stings from the demon locusts 5 months. The great suffering will cause men to attempt suicide. Whatever they do that would normally result in death will only add to their torment until the 5 months period has passed. This is the result of people's determination to live their own way, in spite of the warnings of God. They have ignored God's love by rejecting Jesus and turning their ear away from the wooing of the Holy Spirit. And finally, God has no choice but to allow them to go their own way. As the Scripture says, therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own ways, and will be filled to the full with their own fancies. This horrible thing happens not as a result of the will of God for anyone, but as a result of sin and rebellion against God. Revelations 9, verse 7 through 12. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns of gold, and their faces were as the faces of men, and they had hair as the hair of a woman, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions, and they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings were as the sound of a chariot of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and their stingers were in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. They had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew is Abaddon, but the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there comes 2 more woes hereafter. The smoke from the bottomless pit causes severe air pollution. People not under the care of the 144,000 are temporarily blinded by the smoke and the struggle to breathe. They are helpless to defend themselves against the sting of the locust. Some people say they believe that locust represents jet airplanes which have horrible firepower. But have you ever seen an airplane eat grass or leaves off of the tree? John's description of the locusts as insects corresponds with an ancient reference found under locusts in many encyclopedias. These locusts are literally insects commanded to attack the men who do not have the seal of God in their forehead. The name of the king over the locusts in both the Hebrew and the Greek means destruction and destroyer. 1 woe is past, and 2 more woes are to come. Now we're going to talk about the 200 million man army. As the 6th trumpet sounds, 4 angels found at the river Euphrates are released. And the 6th angel sounds, and I heard a voice from the 4 corners of the earth, of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel, which hath the trumpet, Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed which had prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay 1/3 of the population of men. The 4 angels are given a fixed period of 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and 1 hour in which to operate. During that time, they create a vehicle through which they will destroy 1/3 of the earth's remaining population. That vehicle is an awesome army of 200 million men equipped with weapons of tremendous firepower. Revelations 9:16 through 19. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, or 200 million. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and one of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these 3 was 1/3 of the men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents. Serpents, and their heads, and with them they do hurt. They are not natural horses which John describes. They have heads like lions, out of which comes massive destruction. John is describing a military vehicle with awesome firepower, which has taken the place of the horses, the most outstanding mode for the army transportation in his day. The horse has long since been replaced by powerful, swift, and armored vehicles. The origin of the 200 million man army. In comparing the verses which describe the sounding of the sixth trumpet and the pouring out of the sixth vial, we see that both involve the great river Euphrates. Revelation 16 and 12 says that, "Then the sixth angel sounded out his vial on the great river Euphrates, and its waters dried up, so that the way of the king from the east might be prepared." Only the Orient can produce a 200 million man army. In December of 71, the Prime Minister of China declared that China had the potential of fielding a 200 million man army. The Oriental Federation of Nations can now easily field any army of 200 million men. The combination of the enormous Chinese population with the boom of the industry growth can easily create a formidable military machine. The time frame of 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and 1 hour begins with the last month of the tribulation's 6th year. In 12 of the 13 months designated, the 200 million man army sweeps through Asia to the river Euphrates, destroying everything in its path with tremendous firepower. Meeting with some resistance in the world's most popular area of Asia, the army destroys 1/3 of the Earth's remaining population. Early in the last month of the 6th year of the tribulation, the Oriental army arrives at the then dry river Euphrates. The army crosses and turns south into the nation of Israel. In that final month, its members gather into the valley of Megiddo, which stretches into the plain of the valley of Jezreel, the site of the Battle of Armageddon. In addition, the European and Mediterranean army under the leadership of the Antichrist and the false prophet also gather for the Battle of Armageddon. The Oriental army is under the command of the fallen angel, not of the Antichrist. The Orientals are on a collision course with the Antichrist. Both forces are attempting world conquest when they discover a common foe, Jesus Christ. Their combined forces to resist his return. Of course, their defeat is inevitable. On the final day of the tribulation, the Oriental and the army of the Antichrist are destroyed in 1 hour. That accounts for the last month, 1 day, and 1 hour. Revelations 9 and 20 and 21. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornications, nor of their thefts. Although God continues to reach out in love and mercy, mankind becomes worse and worse in their evil deeds. They seem to have no thought of repenting and turning from their wicked ways and seeking the face of God. Number 1, murderers continues and increases. There will be no regard for life. Number 2, sorcery, witchcraft, and sorcery continues in its most sophisticated and devastating form, coupled with drugs used as a religion. People will follow astrology and attend seances. They will demand the service of spiritual mediums to communicate with the dead, clairvoyants, and magicians. These things are an abomination to God and are forbidden in His Word. Number 3, sexual immorality. There will be no regard for one's morals or for one's private person. And number 4, thefts, No one's private property will be exempt. That gives us a great description of what is taking place in the very end time. God bless you.